Dual set. 안녕하세요. Ginny, you there? Ginny? Ginny? Ginny?
Yo.
Oh. I know you told me you were going to die, but... Oh, Lord. He really killed you, didn't he? Are you speaking from the grave, Ginny? Anyway, hello everybody. It is the Noonas podcast with Jenny, and I think with Ginny. I think Ginny's alive. I don't know. I'm gonna go poke her. Ginny.
I'm struggling to keep myself from getting away from like all this madness, especially with one person this week, or two, maybe I guess like two groups this week.
It's wow.
Yeah.
I thought last week was rough between BTS and NCT, and then this week hit. I should just say Monday hit. Sunday into Monday, and then yeah, I'm quite surprised I'm not speaking from the grave, but I don't know. Here we are.
I'm still trying to function properly here. So yeah, just a warning for you people. You know, it's gonna be a mess. I'm probably gonna be like stammering throughout the whole entire thing. I'm just probably gonna make mumbling. Whatever.
If we start speaking in tongues, you understand why now. Yeah, it's wow. This week was this early week. This November 30th was just an insane day for K-pop. Not just with 3 big releases. We had 2 debuts, one being a solo debut by EXO member Kai, the other being a group debut by the highly anticipated boy group Enhypen, as well as a album release from really popular group GOT7, all released on the same day.
On the same day? How? Why? What made these companies like say like, oh, let's pit each other like dogs, like on the same day? They could have like each other from like different days of the week.
Well, because you have basically SM, JYP, and I guess Big Hit, because it's Enhypen's kind of is a joint thing that's technically under called Belift Labs, but technically they're partly owned by Big Hit Entertainment.
Yeah.
So all 3 of them just came across and just slapped like every K-pop multi fan across the face. It's been a rough week as a multi stan.
But it's not done yet. They still have one more, or like I guess a couple after like Kai. So you know we got like the Queen of K-pop doing her like 10th album and her 20th anniversary on Tuesday, and on Friday is gonna be the end of me as an N citizen. Speaking as an N citizen, I'll probably won't survive this year. I don't think we're gonna be continuing with this show. I don't know. I have no faith. I'm sorry, Jenny.
If you hear an explosion in Canada come Friday, or had heard an explosion in Canada come Friday, that would be Jenny. But yeah, we're supposed to be getting a huge
performance, like 23-member performance by the whole NCT.
Flashing back to Black on Black, and now we're getting Resonance, and I've seen the trailers for that, and oof, it's gonna be tomorrow. That's tomorrow morning. I just realized as we're recording here on Thursday. That's tomorrow morning.
And I'm gonna be working early in the morning, so I'm not gonna be focusing on my job. We're gonna be
apologies to Jenny's coworkers. Thank God I have tomorrow off, actually. So hey.
Can we switch? I need rest.
Yeah, you know what? I have to go do things tomorrow. But anyway, let's get into it because we have a lot to talk about. We just not even have the album stuff. We have some breaking news that's happened this week in the world of K-pop. Though we got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I think. Should we just rip the Band-Aid off with you right away, Jenny? Should we just go right into the main thought of the night? Should we?
If we must, let's get over it then, Jen.
All right. So, yes, this is the main reason why I think Jenny is barely functioning currently. We had the debut of Kai from EXO.
Can I say this name? to my face ever again.
Kai. I will keep saying you.
I'm trying to be faithful to Lay, man. Come on. And he has to come in like the demon he is, like
Are you
body
telling me
rolling
that?
without
Are you telling me Kai's your bias wrecker in EXO? Is that what you're telling me right now?
Yeah, I think he is considered my bias wrecker.
Because I mean,
unfortunately.
Well, it's a secret hint. You can have multiple bias wreckers because I do in multiple groups. So, pro tip.
Oh wait, no, I have. Oh, sorry, I'm kind of cheating on like a Lay with Baekhyun too. Like, oops. So, yeah, I shouldn't be like talking right now and like trying to be staying faithful to Lay. My bad. And anyways, like, go on, Jenny. Go on. I'm digressing.
I was going to say, there's nothing wrong with this whatsoever. But anyway, yeah, we had Kai's first solo album come out, his highly anticipated solo album. This is the fourth or fifth member of EXO to finally have a solo release. We've had Baekhyun, we had Suho, Lay, obviously. Chen has had solo songs. I don't think he's had a solo album though.
Yeah,
and I guess I would count Chanyeol and Sehun because technically that's a subunit of EXO, so that's not really solo
like
stuff.
Like the CBX line as well too.
Yeah, true. Yeah, with Baekhyun and Jaemoon. Yeah, I mean, so I guess this is the fourth member of EXO to release a solo album, and wow, just wow, I myself was for it. I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch. I know he actually dropped the music video for the lead single on Sunday night. Sunday night.
Why did he title that for his first debut song? That line, I don't want to even like pronounce it. It's just that title track. What made him like decide on putting that as his debut song?
I will say this, a better than the one that came from Treasure, because that song was rough.
It's an earworm for me.
But I mean, basically came out of nowhere Sunday night. Like I said, most of our releases usually come early in the morning, the day of, usually around 3 a.m. my time, 2 a.m. Ginny's time. But yeah, all of a sudden it was 9 p.m. I'm watching football because, again, you all know me. I am on the sports show. I'm on the sports show with Cedric. So y'all know I'm a sports nerd too. So I'm watching football and all of a sudden I see my Twitter explode because Kai dropped his music video and I'm like,
pay attention to me.
I'm like, I'm in public.
It's my time to shine. Of your football games, Jenny.
It's like, I'm in public. I can't really, yeah.
So, like this almost shirtless man, like dancing and body rolling for the debut song. No.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Like, I thought Wonho was a thought, like in
or Taemin, the king of thoughts.
Taemin too.
His best friend, like Kai's best friend. So I guess he got so much from him. Why? What a bad influence.
They're all bad influences. How do they get influenced toward Jimin from BTS too? Because Jimin's already a thought too. So wait till Jimin has a solo date. Oh god.
Oh
I
no.
I just thought about this. Yeah. Oh no. I don't know if he's having a solo. I know there's rumors that two other members of BTS are having a solo to support Jimin. But anyway. Let's go back to Kai and try to focus on Kai. EXO's Kai. Yeah, that song, it's slinky, sexy, like it's like a super, super sexy R&B grooving kind of song.
Maybe introduce him like who Kai is and like who he's like his position from EXO and like what made him decide to finally do a solo album.
Make him the sex demon that he is. Yeah, so Kai is, I guess, he's considered the center of EXO, as well as probably the main or the best dancer of EXO. He's probably one of the best dancers in Korea with Taemin. Probably put up there with Jimin as well. Like I said, all three of them are friends, but they're all amazing dancers. I
could put them on par with like Lay too, because they're really like talented dancers. Like they're like two of the EXO's like finest performers. But since it's Korea based, so I guess like it's Kai would be the one. Yeah, and he's pretty much like the face of EXO. Like whenever you think of the group EXO, you think of like Kai first because of his he's pretty much the eye candy all throughout. Like even I saw like I checked out his teaser videos of like when EXO first started out, and they're all pretty much centered on Kai and not like the other like 12 members, which is kind of like, wow, man, like Kai has been doing much work. And yeah, like how his performances were able to like grab people by his powerful contemporary dancing, if you like check or like analyze his movements, it's like a mixture of like ballet, since he was like trained with that, as well as hip hop. And like as you said, Jenny, like the bravado, and like he pretty much grabbed people with like his charisma, like it's pretty like sensual. Like I heard this one guy is like saying like every year like EXO comes back, like the less clothing Kai wears in the videos. Which is yup, that's exactly like what Kai is. It's like every time he comes back or like appears in like different like groups, and then, like his body, his clothing goes missing. Like, where is it?
I mean, because we all nearly lost it last year during EXO with Obsession, because she had a crop top, and that crop top during Obsession era, I was like, hello.
That was the first time I started following EXO and started like listening to more of their music, because I'm pretty much still a newbie in K-pop, and that was the album that got me like made like EXO become like my top listens, as well as NCT. And yeah, that was kind of like a rough experience for me.
Yeah, we also know that Kai is also a member of Super M, obviously with his group mate Big Kun, as well as other members from SM Entertainment. Still very much like the dancer and center of I'd say he's probably the dancer center, probably with 10 and Super M, because both of them are just Entertainment too, because they're all amazing dancers and just like stunning. So that's kind of like his job, but not to say not just his looks are really good, but his dancing is insane. Like you see it in the music video for between all the choreography, like it's super powerful, but it's super fluid.
And also like hard, like a mixture of fluidity and like hard hitting punches too. It's like, wow, that's a perfect balance of like those elements. Is really I really admire him as a performer, and that, like if I ever like do a cover, it's gonna be hard for me to like even like match that type of choreography and movements. It's like, wow, you have to be like super precise on like the gracefulness, and then like where you can like just like be aggressive, like whoa.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like even with the music video, like they're playing again in the music video. It's very futuristically set. Like some of the costumes in there are like insane. Like that whole weird like sequin, like I don't even want to call it. It's like this like that like do-rag kind of thing. It kind of looks like a do-rag, but it's not. But it goes really down low, and like it goes very long in the front. But it looks good on him, and like he's covering his face, like his face is in shadow, but he still looks really good. She's changes throughout the whole thing. It's insane.
The glittery do-rag, and like the one where he's like wearing this light blue and the red pants. That just reminds me of like this JoJo character. Like that's why I put on Twitter like, man, like what is Asum like been watching like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recently? Because like some of like the clothing, they even put this on like Choi Siwon from Super Junior. Like even the textures and the patterns too was like, hey, that came from like that anime character. Like what are they doing? And then it's kind of like unleashed by nerdom in me, like, oh shoot, they do. Is that a JoJo reference?
I was gonna say, I'm like, can we go find that as producers Pinterest board? Let's just Pinterest board again and see if there's any JoJo pictures on there. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Yeah, that was like, oh my gosh, that's pretty much like even the crop top too, like on point. Like, oh my.
Mhm.
Anyways, I was like wondering, since he's like forte like relies so much on the dancing and the performance, I was like
Mhm.
wondering, like, even though I wanted to have like a solo album, like I wonder how he would like incorporate like his vocals, or maybe his like
Mhm.
rapping. That's because that's what I was like expecting or like thinking, like how would how much help like would his vocalizations be, and like what do you think about it, Jenny? Like regarding like his singing and all that.
The actual like the actual I think album itself, when you listen to the it was 6 tracks I believe he had on this
Mm-hmm.
mini album, and I was very surprised because like his voice is, I mean, it's not like super standout, not like I'd say like Baekhyun,
Like
and
powerful or like power
powerful
vocals like
vocals like his,
Baekhyun
or like
and Dios.
Taemin's, yeah, or Taemin even too. But he still has this like, he does have a really really good voice for R&B, which is a majority of this album is
Mm-hmm.
R&B with like a mix of like trap and EDM and like progressive,
Yes.
where they kind of take it as more progressive R&B. So there's a lot of electronic elements to it too, but he
Yeah.
somehow pulls off like his like lower register, and it sounds really sexy and smooth
Yeah, like
throughout.
yeah, I really like becomes like that becomes one of his like signature things is like his vocals is like really nasally, but it sounds really
Mm-hmm.
sensual. So like I got you, boo, yeah. It's like ooh,
Mm-hmm.
that yeah, and yeah, it may not be like power vocals like Baekhyun, Chen, or Dio, but I think he's still able to like hold himself like with like his singing, and then I think the strength lies more in his like well performances, but like in the rest of the album it's just like the instrumentals and like the background music, which
Mm-hmm.
feels so like transcendent in a way, like so atmospheric that I really wanted to travel to like another dimension. Like that's how like like those six tracks is really excels on its own.
Yeah, the style, like I'm not gonna lie, you go from the single into Nothing on Me, and Nothing on Me I think is my standout track on this. Like just when
Yeah,
that
the same
drops,
thing.
it's it's super. I'm trying to explain how to explain it. It's super sexy, and like the beats, like it's just, yeah, you want to go like travel to another dimension, and it's a really
Yeah,
invigorating song. Like I am super impressed by just how much like work he put into this, and like the because he worked with a lot of American producers and stuff, I think,
producer. I think yeah, SM like
throughout
really
it.
does that. Like they hire a lot of like American music to produce
Mm-hmm.
like albums. So, yeah, but same thing goes for me. It's like Nothing on Me is like my favorite of all like from all of his like six songs in the album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just yeah, it feels so sublime. Like I think my heart like welled up whenever I listen to that song because it's like it drones out like you're going to like another place, like you're
Mm-hmm.
in this wildlife, and wow, even as well as Ride or Die as well, because like those types of songs, it reminds me of
Mm-hmm.
like those 80s music like that you hear from like Tears for Fears. It kind of reminds
Yeah,
me of
I
like some
was
like the songs they would like probably make or like sing throughout. It's just wow.
I was gonna
It's
say
really
Ride or Die
impressive.
is like Ride or Die is like up there in
Ride or
terms of
Die.
like my favorite songs from it. It's just the whole, like he took like some 80s like prog stuff with it, but
Hmm.
you know, it's still very modern, and it's still that very much that modern EDM style R&B that you see throughout this whole entire album. And yeah, it's I my hats off to Kai, because I mean, yeah, he's not a power vocal obviously from EXO, but and his obviously his forte is performance, but he created songs that he can perform very very well too, and that suit his vocals very well. And
Yeah,
my
it's
hats off to him to just being super smart about that.
yeah, for all like the all that time like fans and like including me, even though I'm like new to EXO, have been like
Mm-hmm.
demanding a Kai solo. It pretty much paid off, and I really admired and like felt for him when he was so overwhelmed like of all the people's like supporting him, and
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, like reading those letters, like that I was watching the video like him reading the letters and like him tearing up. It's just like yeah, I hope like like I hope he managed to get like success in like his solo career, and I hope like he's able to continue it. it's hard for like artists to like do like solo acts because people like only look at groups or follow groups more. But hopefully like it will be more of like a progression or like an improvement, as well as like Taemin and like other like soloists doing that. So yeah, hopefully like people would like look up to him more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't sleep on this album at all. Like it's seriously I think it's gonna be continuously being played through the end of this year here. Might possibly have a song cop on my top 10. I'm not sure yet. I'm still digging through all my backlog of music from 2020 as I'm getting my top 10 list of K-pop ready for the end of the year here. But
I think some of my top 10 lists pretty much consist of some of the EXO members. I'm just letting you know that. I'm such a bitch for like EXO and like pretty much SM Entertainment. No matter how shady that they would treat like some artists, it's just dang, like their music like is top notch. Like they really value like the music and like the classic R&B, hip hop sound, and like as well as their vocalists in there.
Yeah, so don't worry. I think mine's gonna be mostly Big Hit and
Big
ATs.
Hit,
Speaking of Big Hit, let's actually transition into the other big debut this week. We had the much anticipated debut of the group Enhypen, which is technically not like completely under Big Hit Entertainment, but it's a joint effort between Big Hit and CJ E&M Entertainment, which is a huge entertainment company in Korea. Like they produce a lot of the movies and stuff like you see international distributions usually do them. So it's a joint effort that they called B-Lift, but for the most part, they are, I think, mostly working at Big Hit Entertainment because I've seen the practice rooms. It's Big Hit Entertainment's practice rooms. But they debuted on Monday as well with their debut single, Given Taken, and their debut album, Border Day One. And I've known a little bit about this group because the 7 members of Enhypen were all part of the show Island, which was shot and filmed this summer in Korea consecutively, because basically the 7 winners of the show became the group Enhypen, and they basically went straight from the show into getting ready for this. So like because the show ended in September, end of September, and so basically from the end of September until now, they've been working on getting this album out and getting themselves ready for idol life. And I am immensely impressed by just how out of the gate they came with this album.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I think from transitioning from like Kai's like transcendent like sounds, and then like listening next to Enhypen's, it's been like a week of like such how do you like put this, like otherworldly like music given by like from like Kai and then now Enhypen, because like the music in there, it sounds like it's like like you're in like a different, like you're traveling to a different dimension or different place, and it feels even like fantastical, like regarding like the concept that they're doing with them being vampires. So it's just a very interesting concept which we could probably explore more, Jenny.
I actually was about to touch into that. Yeah. So it's been, obviously we talk a lot about this, about how different groups have different concepts. A lot of Big Hits stuff is more rooted into real life, like with BTS and TXT. Although I will say TXT does delve a little bit into the magical,
like the fantastical, whimsical,
magical, because I mean they've referenced that with Dream Chapter Magic, especially with and they've been dealing with time loops and stuff too. So there's a little bit of magic in that world too, but it's still a lot of realism. This, while it is a little bit more magical, is still stated in a lot of realism. Like I think I know where they're going with it. Like you think all of a sudden like, oh, it's a vampire concept like that. How original is that? But I think they're taking it in the right direction, especially within the music video from Give It Taken. Like,
Yeah, I think there's gonna be like some like heavy fearing, theories
Theorizing.
from theorizing from a lot of fans on like what their message and what like how it's like probably significant. So maybe you could like probably pinpoint some of those. Jenny, like, do you have any other
Yeah.
ideas?
Well, I know I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the music video starts with the leader Jungwon with a nosebleed, and it's like, oh wow, we're gonna start there already. Okay.
I
And
know.
that was like shocking to see first thing in the music video, and then it goes into the
Blood.
song. Yeah, well, I mean, because there's a lot of reference with like blood and stuff throughout the album, not in a gross way, but like in a
even like the vampire feature, like the white fangs and all that too, is just it's very interesting.
It's very, very subtle, like how they're portraying it, because like the music video itself, like there's a lot of stuff in the music video for Give and Take in itself that you could use for theories, which I think sets a really good ground base for this alternate universe I think that they're going to have, especially too with the preview trailer that they had for this, as well as the actual album shoots themselves. There is a lot of vampirism. Like a lot of references to like vampire lore and stuff throughout it, like you know, and even the music video itself, like you see like them in the sun and they're smoking, and like there's a lot of like, I'll say horror-esque elements in it too, and it's done really, really well. Like, I'm very interested in seeing how this is going to take off.
Yeah, it's like some of like the vampiric, I guess like romantic aspects too, like you would see in this Victorian 1800s era. Yeah, like because you know how like they have some like moments where they go into like the sepia tones, and it's just to signify like them in the past. I guess it's just. I'm really interested in the narrative and how they're going to start out with this and how they're going to later span out. Like, I'm not sure if they're going to continue on with like new stories with these personas. So yeah, I'm really intrigued on what they could do next time.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they'll take it from here, because there's a lot. It obviously sets a really good ground base. Like, there's a lot of. I feel like they're using the vampires like a metaphor from between child and adult a little bit, because like when they're the older, it's a little bit more childlike. But when they're out in the sun and they're like, I feel like then they became vampires. Like, I feel like that's kind of. I feel like puberty is like them turning vampires. Like, these are all theories. I'm theorizing. I'm spitballing here.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
Like, that's kind of where my gut is going with this.
Yeah, because you know how like groups, you know, like vampire concept's not an original thing, but the thing is with like other groups, they just do it for just the looks and the visuals. Well, this one they're like diving deeper into more of like the narrative, like the story. Yeah, like the narrative wise, and then like the thematics and how they could like use that to send a message for like their new fans. So yeah, I'm really excited what they could like pull off with this.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't drop it. They don't drop it like some other.
I know. I will say this. I seriously, I have groups. I have a group that is a pirate theme between ATs, and they haven't dropped that yet.
Okay.
And which I'm surprised. I mean, because basically the whole entire first like era of ATs, which is like from the debut until beginning of this year, like way beginning of this year, because that was the final album of that era. It was like 5. Well, it's 4 mini albums and a full album, but that like there's a lot of thematics throughout the music too. So I'm hoping to see that with Enhypen as well, that we get a lot of those thematics in the music, because you even get that even in some of the other songs. Like the second song on the album, when you they go right from Give and Take It into Let Me In.
Let Me In.
They're referencing, Let Me In. They're talking about, you know, it's a little bit more romantic, but like, you know, I want your love, I want your blood. So like there's like hints of like that.
Yeah, like, hints of like the horror romance. Yeah. They bring up like back into my like the Twilight days, like here we go again. No kidding.
I was never into
Twilight.
I was never into Twilight. I read a lot of vampire AU, so like but I'm very interested in seeing where they're taking it. All 7 of them are super charismatic. Like there's a reason why all 7 of these men made it into the group itself, even though there was a little bit of something. I know some people were very, very upset about one of the contestants not making it into the group. But from the 7 that did make it through and become Enhypen, like all of them are super talented. Like they're very charismatic. Their stage presence is immense. Like I watched their debut showcase on YouTube, and where they performed all their songs. Basically, they performed the form songs on the album as well. There's an intro and an outro track too, which adds more to this like horror-esque environment that they're building in their universe. But
like the opening, it feels like it's like you're getting into into their world. Like it's I really like it. Like I really like how the first intro sounded. Like again, it's very like atmospheric in how it it sounded, and as well as it's like the closing. When you like lead into the closing, it feels really haunting too. Like how they use like some of like the horror-esque like music and like the. It is. Some of the riffs too, like reminds me of like the Phantom of the Opera, like the musical. Like, oh wow, it was just.
I got the same vibe.
Very booming.
When it's very looming, very sinister at the end, and it kind of leaves you wanting more. Because this album is only 15 minutes long, between everything. So like it kind of wants you wanting more, and so I am looking forward to seeing what they futurely produce. I guess I was talking with some fellow K-pop friends this morning, and I'm like, dang it, I think I'm an engine now, which is their fandom. They've already named their fandom. They're going to call their fandom is called Engine, Engene. So it's spelled interesting, but they're called engines. And
engine. Oh.
Yeah, so I think I'm an engine already, even though they just
congratulations.
debuted.
Getting me stuck in another fandom that you're going to be like. Feel yourself clowned into. No, I'm kidding, but
slam my head into the desk. But no, and like it's hard too because the youngest member, Nikki, is only 16, and I'm like
16.
He's 16. He's from Japan. Poor kid is like he's so socially like. He's Japanese. Yeah, we have a member from Japan.
I also like K-pop right now, like taking in some Japanese like Japanese.
Yeah, Nikki is from Japan. We also have an Australian member from Jake. Jake's English is what you hear in the intro and outro. He's the one doing the English, the
narrations, right?
Throughout it. So, it's I'm really looking forward to seeing more from them. Just kind of
very much so.
Where they're going to stand among the 4th generation idols. Like this is a super solid debut. Like, much like their I guess almost fellow label mates with TXT with Tomorrow by Together, I kind of have the same vibes I got with them as I got with Enhypen, and TXT is becoming one of like the standout 4th generation groups, and they've only been in since less than 2 years. So
if I could like compare, I guess, or like look into the music of listening to the album, it has like if I want to make it has like a bunch of like big hit staple sounds that you hear from either like the current BTS and as well as TXT. Like what I meant by that is I just noticed like how they have like the high pitched backgrounds with the vocalizations, like the taken or like the instrumentals. It feels really identical with like some of like their like I guess brother groups. So I guess for me personally, if I wanted to make them like stand out was like their own thing. You don't have to listen to me because they don't know me, but I'm really interested if they're gonna push like their vampire concept and then I guess like incorporate some of like the classic elements you see from like the 80s, like when gothic rock was such a huge thing in the 80s, like in Britain. Like if you just do like some of like the sounds like from like the post-punk new wave and like the gothic rock like you hear from like bands like Joy Division, New Order, The Cure, even Susie. So I was like wondering like maybe they could like use that maybe in the future, have like those kind of like this really old sounds and like make it like more modern and maybe have like fans like be interested in it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like hit them too hard right now because again, this is a debut, so they're kind of setting themselves set into the world. Because even Tomorrow by Together, like there's stuff like you look at the stuff from Dream Chapter Crown to what they just had with Blue Hour is immensely different. And that's only been like 18 months of work between those two albums. I mean, they've had 2 other albums in between, but each of those albums were different. And even with BTS too, we've seen, them going from straight hip hop to more ballad soulful to more pop to even and already every amalgamation under the sun with BTS. So I can see that working with Enhypen really well. And I could see them possibly, finding their own sound and finding their own identity within K-pop. But as I may say, this is a really solid debut. I look forward to seeing more from them.
Yeah, I'm really excited as well. And I hope they find success on their own as well, beyond the same thing as same height as BTS and TXT. And hopefully they can give them each other good advice as well, because I heard Enhypen getting being taken care of by BTS and even 17. So I was
aw. I'm looking forward to it, man, because we have the big New Year's Eve concert on December 31st, and Hypen's performing as well as most of the other groups under Big Hits labels, G-Friend, US. Except for 17, unfortunately. BTS, TXT, and a couple of the solo artists too. Throughout it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they stand up against all the other all the other family members of Big Hit Entertainment. So but let's go from a new group to a very established group within K-pop. We'll go to GOT7 here, because GOT7's been around for almost 7 years itself. They're very much established Gen 3 group.
Yeah, a couple of years after BTS, or maybe I think 1 year after BTS debut, and then GOT7.
About half a year, actually, because BTS debuted in June, and GOT7, I believe, debuted the January the following year in 2014. So there's only about 6 months in between the debuts of those two groups. But a lot of people pegged BTS and GOT7 together because of their more hip hop sound.
Yeah, but, the Born Boys attitude, the Born Boys personas too.
That, and then I know GOT7 is more of a b-boying group. When they first started out, they were more of a b-boy group, because they have great dancers between Jackson and Mark, are both amazing dancers. But then you go from that, and then you just see the growth that they've had now, and now they come out with their 4th full studio album, Breath of Love, Last Piece, and this just feels like this whole entire album felt like a passion project almost, in a way, for GOT7, because their sound is very much they've kind of almost I think delved into this more almost R&B-esque sound too, but they still play with a lot of the EDM and stuff. I mean, even when they all break off into their solo stuff, Jackson's very much established himself as a solo artist too, because he's released a lot of solo work with this Team Wing label. And his stuff is definitely more, hip hop, rap. So he's had some, more, I don't know, because I'm trying to how you label what was Please Me from earlier this summer.
Pretty Please.
Galantis. That, which was a really great song too. But this album is
how he how he produces music, and it's very they call it really clubby for Jackson's taste. So it's a really nice breath of fresh air. And I'm not entirely familiar with the GOT7 discography. I haven't explored that much, but I could tell I know how they started out this aggressive b-boy hip hop group, and then they also BTS, they progressed more into more a poppy sound. And I feel with the Breath of Love, it's mixture of how they were at the during the past, and then how they progressed till now. So it's a really good mix of the hip hop and pop all together, and that's how I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it's the cool thing about this album is too, it's it's a full-length album with 11 tracks, but each of the first 7 tracks was composed by an individual member. So each of them is so you kind of from each song, you hear their signature sound in a way. You hear, especially with
Jackson's,
with Jackson's special. You can definitely tell Special, which is the song Jackson produced. You can definitely tell it's Jackson's sound. But again, it's with all the members that GOT7, so it combines really, really well with their strengths. into like creating something that is, under the GOT7 moniker, but, still showcases the members' individual like tastes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I could kind of tell because I know I just listened to it a while ago, but I do tell like there are some like tracks that like opens up to like this one member, and it feels like he's like pretty much comprised of like the whole entire song. Like for one song, it's like it pretty much like their own song, kind of like BTS, like with like some of the solo songs, like with Jin, like you can tell that this is from Jin and this one's from V. Yeah, I could hear the same thing with GOT7, even though it was like my first time hearing like the full album from them. Like, oh, this is like made by one member, and like, oh, this is made by another member.
Yeah,
it's kind of like heard by.
I was gonna say it's kind of like what they did. BTS did with B. Like originally from B, Blue and Gray was supposed to be on V's solo mixtape, and Stay was supposed to originally be on Jungkook's mixtape, but they thought they'd work really well as BTS songs, so that's why they showed up on the album. It kind of has the same like vibe, feeling. Yeah, it's the same vibe with that. Like they feel like they could be solo songs, but they brought them to the group and like, hey, we can maybe do something with this, especially like the album. Like we got teased last week with Breath, which was the pre-release single from the album, and that was such a fun, catchy GOT7, like super like classic GOT7 sound.
Yeah, that's the thing with GOT7. Like they're really like they may be like the loudest and like the rowdiest group in K-pop, but yeah, they could be like really playful and like how they produce their songs. Like it's really playful, just like the one from what was like their famous song. Ooh, ooh.
Oh,
just right.
Yeah, Just Right. Yeah, it feels very much like the early GOT7 in a way, when they were kind of starting to get in more into like a popular sound. They've gone from poppy to more like hard hitting, like even with like the Hard Carry, that's like more hard heavy EDM song. They can kind of play with all that, and then you get into the solo or the main single MV that came out on Monday, which was Last Piece, which is actually composed by the leader JB, and that you can totally tell is written. That definitely is like JB's baby, because it sounds like something that would have been on his on the unit Just Two, which it was him and Yugyeom. So it's him and the oldest member, and Yugyeom is the youngest member together, doing a side project called Just Two, and Last Piece sounds a lot like something that would have been on Just Two, and it's like it starts off slow, but then like it gets harder in the chorus, which is definitely like it's that distinct GOT7 sound. So that I feel like they kind of got away with Die, although I did really like Die as an album. This feels definitely more, as I've listened to it a few times, this definitely feels more like a concise GOT7 sound.
Yeah, that's pretty much admirable to hear. It's like pretty much like they produce things on their own, because I've heard like stories about them like struggling and how to like being approved, like have their own like works being approved by JYP himself, and like how I guess like they're heavily managed by him alone, and then it's hard for them to like make do their own thing. So I'm really happy that they're able to like have that liberty to make their own passion project, as well as still making it concise and cohesive like throughout the album. So yeah, I'm very, very proud of like that it came out with that. I just hope like fans would be able to catch on with this, because I know like they've been pitted against with other like people this week. So hopefully they get their shine too. That's what I'm hoping.
I mean, I will say this, August Days, which are the fandom of GOT7, we're not really happy with how JYP promoted the album, because usually like we talk about teasers and stuff all the time. We didn't talk about the teasers for Kai, but Kai dropped an amazing teaser for his solo album right before. It was more like a mini film that he dropped that like previewed all the songs, and then even Enhypen had like really great teasers. There were no teasers at all for this album. Like we got Breath, and then we got Last Piece. There were no teasers whatsoever for the album at all, in terms of like music video teasers, as well as there was really no advertising. Like fans were like, okay, why aren't you promoting the album? Like, why isn't JYP promoting this album? And then it came out like, though, then they dropped like a little ad like thing, like literally a couple hours before the album dropped. And it literally was like occurred with like really fancy calligraphy, and the members weren't even in the actual ad.
Yeah.
And let's just say, August Days were not happy at all about it. And I can understand there's been a lot of talks about, again, how JYP like it's kind of thrown them on the wayside a little bit in lieu of their other groups like Twice, like ITZY, like Stray Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and even how like they do like their Japanese group too with NITZY too. So it's like pretty much like GOT7's like pushed aside. It's pretty much sad to hear.
Which is sad to hear because, like I said, they're definitely well known in the Western world. Like they have a lot of fans in the Western world. Again, they're also very much like loud, crazy guys. Like they're really charismatic on camera.
They're like. Yeah,
they're super fun to watch.
They're the guys who you want to hang out with, like have a drink with, as like some people would say. Because they're really good friends with like BTS and other like Jackson's friends with EXO's Lay, because like they were in China together like in the show.
Jackson, I feel like, is like this is the joke my friends make all the time. Is Jackson's like the clingy boyfriend to like all the members of all like to different members of groups. Like he's super clingy to RM. Like him and RM are really close to BTS. Obviously he's very close with Lay too. He call him the clingy boyfriend because he kind of is a little clingy.
He's friends with everyone. Like my
he's very friendly.
The social butterfly. That's what they call him.
Yeah, Jackson's got he just has a great disposition on life. And like even Mark too, like you see Mark and Bam Bam too, like they've been doing a lot. I've been watching lives. They've been on a Twitch stream currently playing Among Us, and that's been some of the funniest stuff I've been watching. Because Mark's brother's also been joining in too on it, and it was just hilarious. Because it's also Jay from Day 6, which is another group under JYP, and just chaotic. I have to say it's very chaotic.
Like among all like the K-pop groups I follow and know of, like GOT7 would be one of like the most chaotic groups because like how loud, how crazy like their personalities are. It's just like it's just so fun to like watch them like acting a fool in a good way.
Yeah, and they're very entertaining. Yeah, they're very entertaining. Like some of their YouTube content that they've had done, like other stuff, like Don't Wake Mom. Those are some classic episodes where they have to basically groups go on there, and then like it's like ASMR challenge where they can't go above 70 decibels. If they don't, they get punished by having to put on like weird
like
wigs, makeup and stuff. It's hilarious. I say go check it out. It's hilarious, especially the second one when Jackson had to wear that poor Elvis wig and everybody lost it.
It's like the show that would be like the most impossible to like accomplish by GOT7 because they're just too loud and just like too destructive. And like in the wake is just
and it's comedic gold. So I mean like GOT7 like it kind of feels bad because they kind of got pushed on the wayside this week because we had Kai and Enhypen come just screaming out of the gate with these debuts. And
I'm not sure like if like how like big like the December, like I don't know like if December would have been a great like time for them to at least release it because like their songs has like the really like cool vibes because like or like a really chilly atmosphere because they go in like pretty much on like the sharp key, if that's like the right term to put it. And I feel like you want to like have like you feel like more energized and like throughout this winter and holiday season, like you think makes you feel more active. There's like the hard hitting sounds and all that. It's just like, wow, they could have had it in December.
Especially as the days get colder and shorter here. Like, it's just nice, like, it is a breath of life. Hence the name of the channel.
Breath of love. Breath of love.
Breath of life. So I'm hoping it gets some respect and stuff, but although we're not really sure how much that's going to happen because we are currently dealing with a major COVID outbreak in Korea, especially among idol groups. This has been some of the breaking news that's as I go transition into this. It all started on Monday in Korea. They're currently also seeing a spike in cases. They're starting to see a spike more of 400 cases a day, which as you know, as an American, for Holiday, it seems like nothing because here it's like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of cases a day. But at least in Korea, they handle this a little bit better, way better, I should say. That they they start shutting things down and stuff. So, but it came to news on Monday morning that one of the members from Uptension, it was a member, Bido, tested positive for COVID. The thing is, Uptension is currently promoting their newest single and their new release throughout the music show circuit. So they were on Show Music Core and Inkigayo over the weekend, which made him come into contact with a lot of different groups, a lot of different idols. So
like NCT, aespa, I think
Stray Kids. I know a lot of groups. Basically, it turned into this whole chaotic thing because he tested positive, so they had to kind of go back. So like they said, oh, we're going back into the security footage. We're seeing where he came in contact with. A lot of groups, a lot of companies preemptively pulled the groups out. So like SM preemptively pulled all of NCT and aespa out of shows right away to get them tested for COVID. JYP pulled Stray Kids because they were on. Because I think they're promoting All In right now, and they pulled them to get tested. And Treasure and AKMU got pulled from YG to get tested. So everyone was pulling their artists. Thankfully, there wasn't a ton of cases. Like they even had to have the MCs tested too. So because I'm currently hosting Inkigayo is Minhook from Monsta X and who's hosting from April? Yeah, they had the hosts too that were getting tested as well as staff, as well as staff from the idol group, staff from the show, because TV companies are very, very there's a lot of people in one building, so it's kind of a dangerous super spreader event, and I'm surprised we haven't had a situation like this yet in terms of K-pop shows. They've been kind of trying to socially distance, I guess, in a way at these shows, because there's really been no audiences since COVID started. But out of all of that, most groups thankfully tested negative. Their whole group tested negative. Their staffs tested negative. The only other major cases that got tested positive. So another member from Uptension, Kogyo, also got tested positive. And the rest of the staff and the rest of the group tested negative. So they're currently all self-quarantining while Bido and Kogyo, recover from COVID. As well as on top of that, we also had Pentagon had a case of, one of the members, Yo1, came across somebody who had COVID, and they all pulled out right away from what their shows that they're promoting on, as well as they were supposed to have a live concert, online concert this past weekend.
Yeah, but and I was wondering too. Did Huey postpone his enlistment? Is it regarding connecting to the COVID situation?
He did. Yeah, because Huey was supposed to go into the military come this week, but he is postponing his enlistment just until after the quarantine period, so he can at least do this last concert, and then I think he'll go in and do his military service. So
I see.
Yeah, they're just trying to be safe and preemptive with everything. The other two major cases that came out of all this, Everglow, Zerum, and Sion, unfortunately got tested positive for COVID. So not 100% sure how, things are going to go. They did cancel one of the music shows this week. They canceled the show on Tuesday. They haven't canceled any of the shows yet for this weekend coming up, including Music Core and Inkigayo. So it's going to be very interesting because obviously, we're going to hopefully see Enhypen be performing on those shows. Because again, those music shows are a really, really great promotional tool for new groups like Enhypen. Hopefully Kai would be performing too, I would think, for his solo stuff.
Yeah.
And GOT7. So and also on top of that too, we have major awards this weekend.
Yeah,
we have the two major awards. So a lot of stuff is in flux currently. I'm not sure how they're going to actually pull off these award shows this weekend too, because like both
I wonder
Mnet
how
and
they're
Melon
gonna adjust like to like putting more restrictions on like on the shows too. So I wonder if they're gonna like have like different plans on how they're gonna be doing the shows, or if they're gonna be either canceling or like still continuing on throughout the weekend.
Well,
I'll see how it sounds out.
They're still advertising. I mean, technically, Mamas are just going on right now because they're kind of doing this like little every night. They've been announcing some of the awards, some of the smaller awards. Obviously, they're waiting for the major awards until Saturday. But I don't know how they're going to do, because they said they're going to try to keep the groups separate. And obviously, there's no audiences for these awards like they usually are. Usually, they're in huge arenas because usually a lot of it turns into a concert because there's a lot of performances by all the groups. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it's going to translate, because everything's going to basically be online in terms of like the audience. And then in terms of how they're keeping all the groups separated and trying to make sure that people aren't getting exposed to COVID, because you know, we're still dealing with this issue with attention having the COVID, and then now this chain reaction. So, and some of the groups that were obviously performing on these music shows are performing on these award shows like NCT. So it'll be very interesting to see if they're going to change anything, because they really haven't announced anything. They're kind of keeping this very cryptic, which I don't like.
Yeah, like, they should be way more informative on like what they could like I guess appease their fans with, or like give them more comfort, and like saying like we'll be doing this, we'll change our plans, and then like do this instead. But they're just keeping things under wraps, which is really cause more tensions for like causes fans to worry more. So it's just they have to think smart about this.
Yeah, because it's going to have a lot of big groups performing this weekend at both Melon and Mnet Asian Music Awards. So some of them performing, I think, both nights too. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen. I'm probably going to be up watching both of these because they're both happening very early in the morning this weekend. But I'm hoping to maybe talk next week a little bit about the winners and stuff. I know states are still really, really pissed at Mnet because somehow either Backdoor or God's Menu got nominated, which stupid. But anyway,
like one of the biggest snubs. Like I really don't like following award shows and like finding out like the winners. Either because I'd be really competitive, or like I'd feel bad for like some of the people who don't like are not merited for like their achievements. It's just especially like what you heard like recently with the APAN and like the AAA awards. So I was happy with like some groups like BTS, NCT, even GOT7, Monster X getting like their daesangs, or like their even Twice too getting like their awards. Like there's one major group like didn't get anything at all, which is Blackpink. So like there were so many people angry on like tweeting on
Blinks are very notorious for that. And Blinks are notorious for just if they get snubbed, they are very vitriolic on Twitter.
I mean, but it's been happening
in good and bad ways.
But this doesn't happen often though with Blackpink. That like I think there's a thing about them like not getting much awards from Korea. So I'm kind of curious.
It's weird. Well, and there's also been talks like about how YG might have bought them some awards last year, especially in America with the People's Choice Awards, because some people were like, "Wait, Blackpink won for like an award that BTS was up for," and so which I don't even think BTS the fans really cared about, which is surprising for us. I know I was really happy with the AAA awards that we got. Multiple groups had multiple daesangs, which daesangs are basically like the big awards of the night, and they kind of nicely spread that around evenly, because last year it was historic that BTS at Ellen
pretty much everything
basically swept, which nobody expected.
Hogged all the awards.
So I like to see spreading, because I mean there are a lot of really good groups out there. Again, as a multi-stan, it breaks my heart because like I love groups, but like I want to see them get the the accolades that they deserve. So, and it's always a tough
That's why I'm
competition.
really happy with like the AAA awards. Like I think I'm probably like going to be like the happiest of that right now. But I hope like many groups can get their like recognitions in like different ways.
Yeah. So, and also, I'm just always too for these award shows. I'm more in it for the performances because some of the performances we get are like classic performances you see that are like must see performances throughout a group's history. So, hopefully we can touch on that next week.
I think it was last year when I got into K-pop, and then like I started like getting into like the iconic moments from like last year's award shows, like with Jackson with the Hwasa JYP thing, and like
the best things that come out of that show. I'm not even gonna lie.
The performances too, and it's just
also BTS's 40. Somehow they had a mini concert for BTS in the middle of the was it Melon or was it? And I can't remember if it was Melon or Mnet, but one of the shows basically BTS stopped the show. It was like a 42-minute mini concert for BTS, which kind of was awesome. But I was like, really? So, but yeah, I mean, I guess what should you do when you're the biggest group in the world? Which, speaking of the biggest group in the world, before we go, wanted to touch on a couple of BTS stories. Sorry, we're almost done, guys. I promise we're almost done. Just a couple quick BTS stories. Well, because we made some major history this week with B. So obviously we talked about B last week on the show, and major congratulations to BTS for basically like sweeping the Billboard like charts this week in America, which is insane. So obviously
it's an impressive feat. Even like other like groups such as like Psy wasn't able to like beat that kind of record. So yeah, BTS is like just killing it this year.
It is like so basically the biggest thing. B itself ranked number 1 on the top 200. This is the 5th straight BTS album to debut number 1 on the Hot 200, or the top 200, which is the top albums of the week. Started all the way back, I think, with Love Yourself here, and like every album since then has been number 1. And then also on top of that, and this is the one that surprised the hell out of me, was that Life Goes On ranked number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It is the first
same
majorly
here.
sung. It's the first majorly sung Korean song to hit number 1 because Dynamite Again was in English. So this is technically BTS's third number 1 because they have Dynamite. They also had the Savage Love remix that they did, Lax Beast remix. Because technically they count for that because of the way they work remixes is that if over half of the plays are the remix version, that's the one that gets credited, and that's the one that shot to number 1 was the BTS remix when they had mostly just Suga, J-Hope, and Jungkook in the remix. So to have an actual almost full Korean song shoot to number 1 with like little to no airplay, like Life Goes On, I think got barely 100 spins on domestic radio across the country last week. So this all came from streaming.
Yeah, and I was pretty astounded myself too, because I thought because the B and as well as like the Life Goes On are pretty much like the slow down paces for BTS, because they already had their high with Dynamite and even like their Map of the Soul like way back when, and to have like I don't know how much they expected this to like blow up like their B album, but I'm really pleasantly surprised to see like something like Life Goes On still hitting like the top charts for Billboard. It just goes to show how like powerful like the fandom is, like army is, and how like prevalent BTS's influence around the world truly is. Even like Paul McCartney from the Beatles talked about BTS, and then he was like highly praising them, and like talked about like how his band, like the Beatles, were such an like were influences back in the 60s, and how like people still listen to them today. And hopefully same thing goes for BTS, like maybe like from years to come, like like when they're like done with music, people would still listen to like some of like their famous tracks and like their biggest hits.
Yeah.
And yeah, to
I
have
will
the
probably
blessing
I will be one of those
Paul
people.
himself, from like one of my favorite bands from all time. It really wells my heart, man.
I mean, to hear like those words from Paul McCartney, and it's kind of crazy because now that everyone has been, comparing the BTS to the Beatles in a way, that they actually, the members of BTS actually have gone back to start listening to the Beatles and stuff. Because I think J-Hope's actually talked about, he's listened to a lot of the Beatles since like they've been talking about that. So kind of cool to see that in a way, because I mean, I'm not sure how much Britpop actually, made it over to Korea, in all honesty, but also on top of that too, there was big news this week, which actually is fitting that we're doing this also on Jin's birthday. Happy birthday, Jin! Happy 28th birthday!
Yay! You don't get to go flick to the army, the real army, for a while.
Yeah, so it was announced also on. Yeah, it was announced on Tuesday that the Korean National Assembly passed a law which has become known as the BTS law.
The BTS law.
Which it's basically what they were calling it in the assembly, and that's where all the media picked up on, is calling it the BTS law. So basically what it is, it was originally before you had, if you reach the age of 28, which Jin is now 28 today, and fellow BTS member Suga will be 28 come February. You have to mandatorily enlist in the army or into the military to do your mandatory military service.
Mandatory.
But they put a stipulation in the rules now that you can postpone it to age 30 if you've received a recommendation from the Minister of Culture, Sports, and Tourism for making what they quote unquote call significant achievements and enhancing the nation's image.
Mm-hmm.
What's notable about this is so what's notable about this is BTS received we're the first idol group ever to receive the Order of Cultural Merit back in 2018 from the government. So ostensibly, that's their ticket for them all postponing military service until age 30 if they choose to do so.
Yeah, so I was just wondering too, like, so Jenny, so it doesn't have to apply for BTS, so it also applies for other groups that makes like significant impact on like Korea and their culture, right? Is that correct?
Exactly. That's the wording they put out. So technically, but it's still gray areas like what you mean significant achievement. Obviously, with BTS, they won an award that is provided by this branch of the military, or by this military, or I guess not military, government position in the by this minister. So it'll be very interesting to see how other groups can possibly use that to postpone military enlistment. Like, what do you qualify
they have to apply
as?
for it, or does the government go to them first? Like, you don't have to
I think they have to apply. I think they have to apply for it. So, So like I said, because Jin's turning 28 today, he would have to enroll in the military, and that's kind of was people were worried about, especially now coming, hopefully to post-pandemic, with BTS basically supplying, billions of dollars to South Korea through tourism, through K-pop, through many, many, many aspects of their economy. Once they start going to the military, it's going to be very interesting to see how Korea is going to react to that, because I mean, we still don't know if all the members of BTS are going to plan to go at the same time, or if they're going to stagger off like some groups do. So we don't know how or what's going to happen with that. So so basically we'll hopefully get another 2 years of BTS, because now Jin can push off his enlistment until 2022 technically. But it'll be very interesting.
Yeah, and it'll be like a slow, transition, just to get like fans to get used to like the last 2 years before Jin can set off to do his military training. So at least fans will get to spend more time for the next 2 years then.
Yeah, I think they mostly. I'm hoping. I think this is Big Hit's plan, is that hopefully once we get post pandemic, we can get one last tour, at least with Jin and Suga in. And because they are the first two who are going to have to enlist in the military. And then, the rest of the members from there on throughout their ages. But I mean, I'm sure it'll be very interesting to see what route they take. But, everything's kind of on hold now anyway this year in terms of like military enlistments and stuff anyway because of COVID, because people obviously, like we just talked about earlier with Boy, who's going to be postponing his enlistment a couple weeks because of potential COVID scare.
Outbreaks,
so it's going to be very. I'm very interested. I also just love the fact they call it quote unquote the BTS law.
The BTS law. So I was wondering though, Jenny, which other groups or members would probably be eligible in that BTS law? Like, who do you think?
See, that's the weird thing, because technically, if you want, but what do you base your criteria on? Is it worldwide impact? Is it album sales? Like, how do you gauge that significant achievements in enhancing the nation's image? But because you can name them in different ways. You look at the top social artists. Like, they just dropped the 2020 list of top social artists for the year. Mm-hmm. And 8 or 9 out of the top 10 are K-pop groups. It's kind of crazy in terms of how there is a lot of impact between but I don't know how you gauge that whole cultural impact. Obviously, I knows how much money BTS brings into the country, but I'm just you need to see what other groups bring into the country as well in terms of economic impact, social impact, lots of different mitigating factors. If anything, any groups, I guess, because this is all going to relate to boy groups. I could say EXO, but half the members of EXO are already in the military or planning going to the military here very, very soon. So, that's kind of pointless now. I can't really think of another group currently right now. It'd be interesting to see if Stray Kids or any of the Gen 4 groups get really, really popular, to see where they would end up if they could possibly exempt from military service, because you still have quite a few years from between Stray Kids, TXT, ATs, the boys, all those groups have a few years yet to possibly make an impact on their culture and stuff, and see if they have impact and see if they qualify as what this cultural is achievement, enhancing the significant achievement for enhancing the nation's image. So we'll see. I know there's been a lot of talks about how South Korea is trying to push off BTS going into the military as long as possible because of the economic impact. So I think it's another way of doing it. It's just something we gotta, I guess, deal with. It's again politics. So, but yeah, I don't know what else to say. BTS has a law named after him now, I guess, apparently. So, no, I don't have a law named after me, but I do have social media that you can follow me on. You can always follow me. I'm sorry, that was a stretch for segue, but here we are. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at Chaos Bulldog. You can follow me also on Facebook, facebook.com. Just search for Jenny Adisek. That's Jenny with an I. Jenny, where can people find you?
Yes, you can find me on Jenny Liana on Facebook, at RCL_Imegujin in Instagram, or you can find me on Jenny Designs to check out some of my professional design works, and they're all on Instagram as well.
And you can also actually find us. We have a new Twitter account. You can follow us at Noonas_podcast. Make sure you include that underscore between Noonas and podcast. You can come follow us. We'll just be probably posting some news stories and some, quick beats, reactions, whatever K-pop goodness we find throughout the week. Otherwise, you can always also find us here too with the Metropolis Collective. Please check out all the other shows here on the Metropolis. Again, we're so happy to be members of the collective itself. Check out all the other shows on the channel. And yeah, we did it.
Yeah. We survived this week. We did it. They're gonna be like the Dorks. We did it. We did it. We did it. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, this beast of a week. So
yeah. Oh, yeah, but there's still more stuff to come regarding like any like politics or like any of like the award seasons coming up. So like,
yeah, expect a lot of probably pissed off fans when certain groups don't win awards.
yeah, news reports
if that
on like
happens.
the winners of like for like this year.
So also, yeah, I mean, also look forward to eventually we're going to get to, I think, our top 10 lists of 2020 in terms of K-pop songs. So check that out. That'll be coming probably in the next couple weeks, probably before Christmas here. So, but with that, this has been the Noonas podcast. Fighting, guys.
Fighting. Save me.
And somebody go save Ginny from Kai.